Good afternoon and welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, gracias por estar con nosotros hoy día en 3 p.m. con SOC. Si quieren acceso al programa en español, por favor marquen el número que aparece en la pantalla, que es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contestan la llamada, por favor compartan la contraseña que es 779-328-221. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director and Lead Organizer for Southside Organizing Center. And I have a confession this Monday. I'm crabby. I'm here with you. I'm happy to be here with you. I'm happy you're here with us. It's just been a heavy couple of months for us all. And we have to keep trekking and keeping it real, even when we're not feeling that way always. All right, folks. Let me share a couple of things. One is we continue to be here for you in all the ways we usually are, except for in person. And again, you can reach us at our phone, 672-8090, our email, soc@socmilwaukee.org, and you can visit our website at socmilwaukee.org. And I want to remind you, we're doing our best to keep up our COVID-19 coronavirus page with the latest information, knowing that so much information comes out every week in so many different areas: employment, unemployment, kids' school, what's happening at the federal, state, and local level, the health department, other resources for you. So we're doing our best to organize that to make it more helpful for you and for us. Please remember, if you appreciate the forum and the information and our presence here with you, to fill out our survey. It's just a couple of minutes long, 3 or 4 minutes. It's a couple of questions. Your feedback has been vital in us continuing the forum when we had to decide if we were going to continue it or not, and what things to add and take away. And so please do show your gratitude by filling out the survey. All you have to do is press the link. It takes you right there and you can fill it out, like I said, in a couple of minutes. You're going to be seeing us, and I want to remind those of you who are especially new with us here or aren't regulars, is you won't see us, most of us, with masks on because we're still working virtually from home. We know the city has moved forward in its reopening plan to phase 4, but our offices, many of our staff, and many of our residents live in the Spike zip code 53215, including myself. And so we're taking the most conservative precaution and still working virtual. Therefore, you don't see us with our masks because I'm at home in my fireplace room. And so we want to rest assured we're cooperating. We don't have to wear masks because we're most of us alone at home. Anyway, we can see how many people are here with us, but we can't see who you are unless you say hello. So who's with us on this Monday morning so we can give you a quick hello? We especially want to pay attention because we are on our countdown to our 100th episode, and I'll get to that in a second. So if you can say hello, I'd appreciate being able to say hello back. All right. The views and opinions are not shared here, are not necessarily those that are held by SOC, because we're a certain type of organization who can talk about certain topics and not others. And so we just always like to share that. Clary, hello. This is Clarissa's first day in her new job. We're so excited for her working at Riverworks, doing her first love, as you heard us say when we gave her send off, stay on party, because she is staying on with us for a couple hours a week to help during the transition. And so, Claudia, we wish you the best, and we know that you are still with us. Hola, Charlie. Hola, Diana. Good Monday morning to you folks. All right. We are headed to the 100th episode of this forum. Who would have thought when we started this journey that the pandemic would last this long? And it has. And so Marisol, beautiful graphic. Thank you. Marisol Diaz is our communications manager. 100 episodes coming up on Tuesday. And so you heard us unveil our plans last week. And so we have a link. Andrea Rodriguez, our leadership coordinator, is coordinating that fiesta or that celebration. We have a link that you can register to participate. We're going to have a Zoom party. And then for those of you who live in our district, the first 100 of you who register for the celebration are going to get a commemorative mask. And Marisol made a beautiful mask that we got in our partnership with 16th Street Clinic and UCC on COVID education and outreach. And so please do send in your registration. The link Andrea will put in the comments shortly. Real quick, just your information, and then those of you who are in our district, because we have limited masks, those who are in our district will mail you your commemorative 100th mask. So please do register. We want you to be with us. We're going to have some fun. We're going to let you meet and mingle with hopefully some of the board, the staff, some of our featured guests. Many of you gave us the feedback of how much you appreciate the people we've been bringing so that you could have access to. And we're going to give you a chance for once to be on the screen and say hello and be known. And so I'm really looking forward to that part of it. All right, we are upgrading to a new forum format, in part because of your feedback, and in part because now that the pandemic has lasted this long, and we also have to make sure that we're going to last for the long haul. And so we've spread the load, and we have a new format. What's going to happen in our featured segment of the forum, each team is going to take care of their own day, the whole production and the coordination and moderating and comments, etc., to make it spread the load. But the featured element for each forum is going to be that topic of information. So on Mondays, we're going to have civic engagement. And so you're going to hear a little more about election information, census, and year-round civic engagement. And then on Tuesdays, the youth, you're going to hear about our youth organizing program. And then on Wednesdays, you'll get the executive update from myself, and that's the day you can ask me questions. And then on this Wednesday, you'll get to meet our behind-the-scenes staff. So Clary is helping us still with office management and bilingual services. I don't know if she'll be able to be with us because she started a new job, but maybe we could tape her in the evening and play that, or she could take her lunch during that time. And then we have Marisol, our communications manager, and our digital organizing coordinator manager. Edith, our grants and compliance person, and then coordinator, and Juvia Hernandez, who does our HR. And then on Thursday, we're going to feature more in-depth COVID-19, coronavirus, and Marlene Zaran, who you're very familiar with here on the forum, our forum coordinator, and our COVID-19 coronavirus coordinator. She's going to be on deck on Thursday. And on Friday, we're doing organizing, leadership development, and community development. And so you'll get to see our two organizers, Travis Hope and Maria Perea, and really Marisol is part of that team by default because she coordinates our digital organizing. And then our leadership department is Andrea Rodriguez, our leadership coordinator. You get to meet her on Friday. And then community development is a position that's not open yet, but everybody does a little bit about it, a little bit of that work, but Clarissa mainly in housing to give you resources. And so you don't want to miss it. We're going to continue, folks, so it's not going to drastically change. It's just what segment is going to be featured because we always kind of run out of time. We want to give it a little more attention each topic. And also, like I said, to spread the load. But every forum is still going to have a civic update, even if it's not on Civic Day. Every episode is still going to have a little coronavirus update, even if it ain't on Coronavirus Day, and every episode is going to have a SOC feature, a public resource to share, because there's so many that we can't get them all out. And so just know that, those things that you're used to hearing are going to happen every day. It's just what's featured is going to change a little bit. With that, let's roll out our first team. We have our civic engagement team. We have our manager, Gabe Charles, and you know her well, but you don't see a lot of Carlos Schmitt, and he's our data and canvassing coordinator. Hola, Gabe. Hola, Carlos.
Hola.
Hello.
Listen, I think it's super important for you all to get to know the full team. And I'm sure you're tired of hearing my voice, because I certainly am. And so it's good to spread the presence. And so you get to know how involved all the work is and how integrated it is. So folks, I'm going to give you a heads up to our guest here and to you. I'm going to ask them just to introduce themselves. What's their connection to the South Side? Like when and how did they find their passion or love for social justice? We'll get to know them, and then I'm going to let them talk about the super important work they're doing, especially this year, because it's a presidential election year and it's the census. So let's start with the person you least have heard from.
I like that.
Carlos, I've known for several years. Now I met him in the community. He's a fellow artist too. I don't want to forget that, because I know that's another love of his life. Carlos, talk to us a little bit about your work background, like what your experiences were in community, and then we'll talk about your connection to the South Side and social justice. So talk to us just a little bit about your history.
Sure. You and I met when I was working with the FSET program, and that's actually my biggest connection with the South Side. I was doing the FSET program with ResCare, so maybe some people who are watching now remember me from those days. I was their community engagement manager for the South Side, and I helped to grow the South Side, and I made a lot of connections with SOC is one of them, and I've got a huge list of all the connections I made. I made a lot of connections because the FSET program was, even though it had been around a long time, it didn't have a big footprint on the South Side. And so my job was to make that footprint. And so with a lot of perseverance, a lot of door knocking, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, I was able to open up some doors for the program and really help it grow on the South Side.
Explain, Carlos, what FSET is for those who are not familiar with the term.
Sure. FSET is the Food Share Employment Training Program. And basically what it does, what it's supposed to be designed to do, is to help people who are on food share. So basically anybody who's on food share has access to some resources that are supposed to help people get education and training to find employment. And so, people can go in there if they're on food share. It doesn't matter how old you are, or as long as you're on food share, you can get access to get a GED, to get training for CDLs, for CNAs, for machining, for CNC. It's just a huge list of different types of trainings and certifications that you have access to if you're on food share. And that's what the FSET program does.
Yeah. When I met Carlos, I gave him a really hard time.
Yes, he scared the heck out of me.
I'm kind of protective of our meetings and stuff. So I gave him a really hard time, but you know why he won me over? Because this is something I hold my staff to. We can be crabby with each other, but I expect the staff to give the residents like the highest level of grace and patience and kindness, even when they're stressed out. And so Carlos was able to manage me really well, even though I was giving him a hard time. He showed a lot of humility, a lot of kindness, a lot of generosity, and he just won me over, because I was like, that's the way I want people to treat the residents when the residents are having hard times and they're expressing themselves. And I was like, I'm going to hire him one day. And so, yeah, I went looking for him when we got our Civic money. And so I'm glad he's here. Anything else you want to share about your work background, Carlos? Things you've done?
Sure. I also had a studio gallery in Walker's Point on 6th and Pierce. People might remember that too. Right in the corner, there was this really amazing warehouse that unfortunately was torn down by the city. But when it was up, we had a great stuff going on. We had, live studio drawings and figure drawings and classes and shows, and I had my studio in there too. And I did that for a while. And then also with the FSET program, I was in a corner over there on National and Layton. That building is still there. It's empty now because somebody else, different company, is doing the FSET program.
Mhm.
It got divided up into different companies in Milwaukee. But I was also a caseworker there, and so I had a lot of experience with the people on the South Side there also. But I also lived in Walker's Point for 6 years, and so yeah, that's what I've done on the South Side.
Great. And Carlos, when can you remember you found your passion about social justice? Like, was that always with you, or is there a distinct time that you remember that really came alive in your soul?
Sure. Well, I was born in Guatemala City, Guatemala. For los guatemaltecos allá.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo están? In Iggs Hospital. So a lot of people know Iggs because it's like the main hospital in Guatemala City. And that was my wife that just went by there.
We're all at home, people. That's okay.
Yeah, right.
Estamos en casa, todito.
Yeah. And so I found my passion. My grandparents are from Spain, and they had to leave Spain because of social injustice. And so from the beginning, it was part of our family, being aware of what's going on. My grandfather was also an editor in a newspaper, so I got to see all the cool caricatures of all of the politicians in Guatemala City, and so it was ingrained in me as a child. And then growing up in Guatemala City, seeing a lot of poverty, seeing a lot of injustice, and even at the age of 7, 6, I mean, we knew what was going on, so that's where it comes from, is from seeing the injustice, and then moving here to the States and trying to explain to people, hey, this is what's going on, in Guatemala, and El Salvador, and Honduras, and Panama, and Colombia, and the same people who are doing that there are doing it here. There's a connection between the injustice there and the injustice here, and then having people not really know about it. So not knowing their own history and their own involvement of their own government in what was going on, and the injustice basically all over the globe. So
yeah, very early then as a child.
Yes, we used to, get the newspaper, and the front page was all the people that were missing. So it was like, it was very powerful. And then, and in America, a really cool thing too is that there's a lot of compassionate people who are really want to make a change, who want to do the right thing, and I learned a lot from them too. And environmentally, socially, and so the motto that's kind of stuck in my head is, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So I just want to be part of the solution.
Thank you for sharing that, Carlos. I appreciate it personally, and I appreciate you sharing that con la gente, con el pueblo. Gabe. Hola, Gabe.
Hey.
Gabe, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll talk about your connection to the South Side and your passion for social justice.
Yeah, so I just, before even going into that, I just want to say thank you to Carlos for being with us today. He's so vital to the civic engagement team, and so much of what happens is a direct result of the great work that he does. So thank you, Carlos, for being such an awesome team player all the time. so glad that you're on the team. But okay, a little bit about me. I'm from Milwaukee, born and raised, graduate of MPS. I went to Morgandale, then Morse, then Rufus King High School. And throughout so I'm a Southsider born and raised, right? Not just Milwaukee born and raised. So have always been on the South Side, but then an additional connection I have to the South Side is throughout high school, my summer job was working at different Milwaukee County pools. So I was at Pulaski Pool, Kazi Pool, Jackson Pool. So the summers I would always be in those, it would be different pools each summer, but just a really cool way to see people that come to the pool every day and know people in those communities and neighborhoods. It was a great job. I really enjoyed those jobs. But yeah, after some of my work background is that other than, working at the Milwaukee County pools, I was in the Peace Corps. I was in the Dominican Republic for 4 years with the Peace Corps, doing different kind of community development things, mostly with entrepreneurship for youth, doing youth programs in the high school to teach entrepreneurship skills and abilities. And then also it basically boiled down to consulting for community organizations that were community-based and just doing many different things to try to increase the income of those community organizations that sold something, just to create more income for the community. So that was with organizations specifically, but it was also with individuals. So one of the programs we did too was just how to start a small business from your house, specifically geared towards women, so that they could have an additional form of income and not have to leave the house, because culturally in the Dominican Republic, especially in the communities we were in, women were in the house, in charge of the kids, having to cook and clean, and just trying to find different ways to empower them financially in their households. So that was really cool. So like I said, I was there for 4 years. That's maybe some of you have noted that my Spanish can be a little Caribeño, so that's also why. But yeah, other than that, then I came back to Milwaukee and I was with the Public Allies. And then I am now with SOC. So,
and Gabe, tell us your connection with the South Side. So you're born and raised. I want people to know also that you have an uncle who is one of our legacy awardees.
Yeah.
So tell us about your uncle. So I have a personal connection with him, but why don't you share about your uncle a little bit, and so folks can make that other connection.
Yeah, so you specifically actually grew up with my mom's cousins and with my uncle too. So it's really cool that we have that connection as well. But yeah, I mean, my Uncle Curly, man, he's
Frank Gonzalez Jr.
Yeah. So he is my my grandpa's older brother. So my grandpa is actually the baby of the family. And I just such good memories with them growing up, and with my whole family in general. And I just remember being at family reunions and being with everybody. And he had such a stern face, but when he would laugh, it would just be the most amazing thing. And I really didn't know too much about how involved he was with the South Side and with SOC and with other organizations until later on in my life, because of the age difference between him and my grandpa. We didn't really hang out as a whole family, but like once a year at family reunions and things like that. But it was so cool to learn that we had that shared interest after I got more involved with social justice work, and especially when I started volunteering with Voces de la Frontera in high school, and then just continued to learn more about him after that.
Yeah, Gabe was also part of Youth Empowered in the Struggle at Voces. Yeah, so I met Gabe because she came to a meeting, and she was a public ally working with Milwaukee Community Justice Council. And I just listened to her in that first meeting. And then I think we met a second time. Then we happened to see each other at the family funeral. And that's where I realized that that she was related to the Gonzalezes. And my mom rented the lower unit of their house before she bought her house. So, it was like extended family for a very, very long time. So I love them. They very much feel like family, actually. And then when I was looking to hire staff, I went and chased her, and she made me chase her for a long time, by the way. I want to let you know. I think it was like maybe the third or fourth contact. And I also had, she was very humble, and I had to convince her that she could manage this new initiative. And I'm glad that, she agreed. I think she is the perfect person for that role at the perfect time. And I knew that she could do it. Gabe, talk to us about when you first realized you had a passion for social justice, or how that came about.
Yeah, so similar to Carlos, it's been something that's just been ingrained in me my whole life, really. Not the same story, obviously, but I am a middle child, and so they often have the role of mediator, and I've always been somebody that has cared about people, about justice and people being treated fairly. And my mom actually told me a story the other day about, I played softball my whole life, and it was probably middle school at this point, and I yelled at my coach for talking to his daughter, like for being mean to his daughter in the middle of a game. And I was like, you can't talk to her like that. I'm sure I can only imagine what my little, curly redheaded self was saying. But so basically that's just who I am. It's always been something that I care about deeply and want to stand up for. But specifically with social justice, I got involved in high school. A good friend of mine invited me to the Yes meetings that he was going to. And I just felt so energized and ignited when I would be in that space and have that community with people. It was just like unlike anything I had ever done before, because I've been a part of a team. I played softball and volleyball my whole life, but it was just different. It was for something greater than, just your everyday win or, just any other kind of team atmosphere. And it was during the time that people were protesting in Madison for the Act 10 or the budget repair bill. And so that was just a whole other, it was just phenomenal to see that so many people coming together in our state's capital to fight against that. And so I went there a few times with Voces and with Yes. And then I also, it was just definitely from there, I think, is what really ignited that fire.
Really launched. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. These two individuals, before we get to their work, have other passions, though. So we are people outside of SOC as well.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but
sometimes the grip is tight. But Carlos, just real quickly, what's your outside passion?
Well, I'm also an artist. I actually went to Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design and graduated in 1993. I don't even want to know how old Gabe was in 1993, really. She thinks she was maybe 8 or something. But, and I have a fine art degree in it's a double major, actually. It's painting and drawing and a minor in printmaking. And so that's my other passion. It's closely related to my passion for social justice because it was a way for me to be heard through my art and to talk about some of the issues that were on my mind regarding social justice. So I'm in my studio almost every day, making sure that I'm making art. And, part of the reason why I make art is so that I can remember the people who have been forgotten. So, artists, people, talented individuals who never gotten a chance. So
thanks for sharing, Carlos. Is there a page? Do you have an art page? You want to share what that is? No, I won't put you on the spot then. I didn't know. I was trying to give you some extra.
I said I was an artist, not a businessman. That's
okay. All right. There you go.
But No, I actually, you have to kind of look for it. It's Carlos, used to be carlosschmitt.com, but then I lost my domain because they take your domain if you forget to make a payment. And like, how many Carlos Schmitts are there? Why are they holding my domain? You know what I'm saying? So now, but you can Google Carlos Schmitt and you'll probably find my website. But now it's like carlosschmitt.wzpwq, all kinds of letters. And so
Google Carlos Schmitt.
yeah, do it. Yes.
Just because it has that social justice connection as well, and people connect to the movement in all kinds of different ways. Gabe, what's your outside passion or passions?
I so wish that I had a creative, I have my creative side with dancing, I guess I would say. So I think I say that all the time, and anyone that knows me knows that that's what I'm always trying to do. So I guess dancing is my creative outlet, but I wish I could do things like draw and paint and really profound things like Carlos does. But really, it's just putting on some music and dancing around my room, my kitchen, my backyard, as it has been for quarantine times, right? But yeah, I really enjoy that.
All right, folks. So it's super important. As you can see, we have treasures at SOC. And so I wanted to make sure that you get to know them as I know them, and know who it is SOC is, right? Because SOC is a living thing, because it's people. And so let's talk a little bit now. We have about maybe 5 minutes left. Let's talk about the tangible programs and services that come out of your department. What's going on with y'all?
Yeah, so I can start. So basically, Civic Engagement Manager, I am responsible for integrating civic engagement work into the breadth of work that SOC does, and to just get people excited to do things like vote and be involved in what's going on in their local government, state government, national government, and things like the census, right? It is all included in that. So just really creating different strategies to build up political power and then go with it and do it. So what that would have looked like for 2020 pre-COVID would have been a lot of door knocking, getting out to know people and know what motivates them about different political happenings, whether it's voting, the census, what gets people motivated and why, what kinds of things do they care about, right? And then, helping to gear whatever education we're trying to give based on those motivations. Obviously, we can't do the door-to-door, which makes it so much harder to form relationships with people because, as Carlos, I'm sure we'll talk about, it's really difficult to make people answer their phones. There's no way to. And even if they answer, there's not any way of knowing if they're going to actually listen to your spiel or if they're going to hang up on you or, things like that. So I'll leave that for Carlos to talk about. But yeah, basically our strategy has become phone banking and different creative ideas on how to reach people virtually. So you'll probably, I'm sure people watching have gotten texts from us, Facebook posts, getting spammed in your feed, and other creative ways of making sure people can get involved in local politics. And obviously this live forum being one of the main ones as well, so that people get up-to-date information, know how to access things they need to access to achieve that, whatever it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah, and I'll add two things, right? Besides being on the forum and doing education and outreach and engagement, we've also been bringing on people who are elected in positions of power, administrators' position of power, so that you all can have access to them. And also, I've shared this before, but one of my dreams when I first came to SOC 5 years ago was to be able to bring you all the latest information about the year-round civic engagement that's taking place. Electing an official is such a small portion of civic engagement. It's big, but it's small in the light of now watching to see, did they keep their word on what they were doing? What committees are they serving on? What's happening in those committees? How it affects you? What are the budgets? And so I'm super excited that I get to see one of my dreams come through Gabe when she reports to you all the what's happening, like in el momento, in the moment, and allowing you guys to learn to feel comfortable in those spaces, whether it's online or getting ready for in person. So I'm really excited about that. And then let's talk to people about who's on the team, and then let's give it to Carlos to talk about what he does in data and canvassing.
Yeah, so really it's me and Carlos are the main team members for the Civic Engagement Squad, but then we also have all our canvassers who are an integral, important part of the team as well, because they're who are doing all of the calling right now and getting hung up on and, you know, having to hear a phone ring time and time again. So
yeah, our canvassing team has been up to 10 people from full to part-timers. And also there's an interface between the civic engagement team and the youth who are also part of the canvassing team. So that's up to another 12 people. And so that team has been massive at times. And now it's a little smaller in between. With that being said, Carlos, talk to us about what's going on with the data and canvassing. What have folks been doing and what are they doing now?
Yeah, so what I do is I supervise the team of youth and adults, and it's an amazing team. These guys are really good at what they do. It just amazes me how good the kids are, how quickly that they learn, and how professional they are. I was kind of skeptical that that would happen, but it's happening, and it's really nice. We got some really bright kids, and the adults are amazing too. And basically, you know, like what Gabe was saying is, you know, we have to figure out ways to engage the residents. You know, originally we wanted to go out and knock on doors, and obviously that's not going to happen, and have those one-on-one conversations and have real natural conversations. And so we're trying to duplicate that with our phone calls. And we do a lot of brainstorming and figuring out how we're going to deliver our message to the residents. Each canvasser has their own style. And basically what we want to do is replicate that one-on-one conversation, because ultimately that's what we want to do. We want to have a connection with the residents. And the campaign that we're doing now is a two-part type of thing, where we're calling residents and letting them know, giving them information about the census, letting them know how important it is that every person is counted. But equally as important than trying to get that data and trying to make sure that the census, the message is getting out to people, we also want to let people know about SOC. And and that's the whole other part about when we want the canvassers talk to our residents, that they care about the residents and have that conversation. Especially now with COVID and also you know, uncertain times, to let people know that SOC is there for them and that SOC cares and that SOC is going to be able to provide them the best information that we can, which is always like information that is like up to date, and that if there's anything going on, any concerns other than COVID, that we can also help them out. So if there are concerns about you know, potholes on the road, or if there are concerns about graffiti, or there are concerns about their family members that are sick, or resources that they need, that they can count on SOC to be there for them. And you know, and just to let people know that we have their back, and to do it in a way that is authentic and real, and that shows that we care.
There you have it, folks. Lots of things happening in our civic engagement team. And if you're thinking, oh my goodness, SOC is calling again, then I'm really proud, because it tells us that we're persisting. And so I just want to give you a little like scenario of what's happened since the pandemic. So generally speaking, we do our work in person, at doors, at our own events, at other events, and at high traffic areas. And so usually you've seen us places. And so during the pandemic, and still canvassing was a part of that. We hadn't quite gotten digital. We were really super behind. So the pandemic pushed us to the front of that arena. We're grateful for having the knowledge, but it was painful. But we're here, and we're much more capable now of reaching out to even those folks we weren't going to see in person. And so we're really grateful for a lot of things. So right now, you could be getting Facebook, any kind of digital communication. You could be getting a phone call. You can be getting a text. You can be getting a messenger. And we've also had contactless programming with our cleanups and resource fair, where you get something dropped at your home, no human contact, but in there's information as well. So we're trying to do all that we can to reach you. Let's see who's here before I let you go and see if we have any questions for you guys. Barbie the Book Fairy is with us. Hola, Barbara. Eloina, hola. Jessica, yay for newspapers. That was when Carlos was talking. Eloina, gracias por mi cartelón del census. Thank you for my census sign. Trine, hola, Trine. Hola, Stacy, Carlos, one of our canvassers. Shout out to her. Hey, Carol Kimball. 3 of my favorite people on this planet, she says. Hola. Esperanza, one of our beloved elders. This SOC at 3 o'clock, I feel, is great. Community engagement with unity capitalized. Any questions for Gabe or Carlos, you all? Don't get nervous. Okay. Carlos, I can see it in your face. All right, folks, listen, I want you to meet the people who are doing the work, and so that you feel in confianza, with a lot of confidence to reach out. We're doing all we can. We know that you need us more than you ever have during this pandemic, and that's why we've all dug in and stayed on. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, Carlos. We appreciate you, and this will be a historic time that we'll all look back and say we were there together.
Thank
all right.
you.
De nada. All right, folks. This is what we're going to be doing all week. You're going to get to know the staff a little closer, and you're going to get to know the programs and services as we run into our countdown to our new forum format. All right. With that being said, let's move right into our coronavirus update with our coordinator, Marlene Zaran. Hola, Marlene.
Hello, everyone. So first of all, I would like to give an update on MPS internet hotspots that have just been implemented all over Wisconsin and Milwaukee. So about $5 million was donated to MPS, and they created 20,000 hotspots in Milwaukee alone. And that is because a recent survey through MPS showed about 30% of students did not have home internet access. So what does that mean? So that means that you can get portable wireless hotspots for free. And you can kind of get more information on that and see how you can get access to it by, first of all, you can do that by emailing the MPS direct line for their internet access. So you can email internetaccess@milwaukee.k12.wisconsin.us. And through that, you can ask them to give you some resources and where your closest Wi-Fi hotspot is. You can also look on this link that's called maps.psc.wisconsin.gov. We're going to put it in the comment section for you. And what it has is it's a hotspot map of all of the public Wi-Fi stations that you can go to, and you can get free internet that way. Another way that you can get these internet hotspots is by calling the number at PSC Internet and Phone Helpline. So what they do is they try to help you connect to some cheap alternative internet. So I kind of looked it up. I tried it out. I put in my zip code and it gave me internet that I can afford of about $15 a month. They can also try to link you and help you out by connecting you to someone that can help you find those Wi-Fi hotspots within your area. So now that being said, I'm going to, the PSC phone line is 608-267-3595. Give them a call and see what kinds of resources for internet they can help you out with for cheaper alternatives. You don't have to pay $50 a month. They have a cheaper way for you to get internet access if you do not live within the MPS Wi-Fi hotspots within your community. So that being said, I'm now going to play a video of Dr. Amelia Arana, who's the Director of Pediatrics from 16th Street Clinic. And she's going to talk about vaccinations of COVID-19 and how you can get access to those at 16th Street Clinic. All right. Hello, everyone. Today I have with me Dr. Amelia Arana, and she is the Director of Pediatrics from 16th Street Clinic. She's here with us today to give us a rundown of the different types of COVID-19 tests that are available and the different tests for immunity that you can do right now. My first question, Amelia, is can you talk more about your role with 16th Street Clinic and what it is you do specifically?
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me, Marlene. A pleasure to be here with you. I am the Director of Pediatrics at 16th Street Community Health Centers. I've been at the clinic for several years, and as you know, we are really proud to serve the community here in Milwaukee. I'm also of support and help for all the providers, including our providers that really do an excellent job doing the COVID-19 testing drive-through services.
Awesome. Can you talk about the different types of COVID-19 testing at 16th Street Clinic and the process?
Sure. Currently, we're offering drive-through testing at our Parkway location, and that location is at the intersection of 20th and Oklahoma Avenue here in Milwaukee. We are offering testing, what is called the PCR testing. It's a nasal swab, and there's a throat swab. We send both samples to the laboratory, and that can be done for any patient that has symptoms like fever, headache, sore throat, diarrhea, or just feeling body aches. So if anyone has symptoms, our patients or anyone from the community, even though they are not our patients currently, we do offer the testing to all of them. Also, we are testing people that are not symptomatic, and that's at this point for our patients. If they have been in contact with someone that is COVID-19 positive, but they don't have symptoms yet, we could do those tests too. So those are what we call the PCR nasopharyngeal swabs. There are blood tests that is called antibody or serology testing. We have that available too, but that's for very specific medically complex cases. We don't feel that the antibody test or the blood test is going to help us make different medical decisions for our patients. So maybe that blood test is for more complex or for patients that are hospitalized and we need to do more studies. But at this point, we're offering the PCR, the nasopharyngeal swab.
Okay, that's great. And are these tests free at 16th Street Clinic?
Yes, there is no cost for the patient and it's covered by insurance. The patient shouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket or co-pays. And also for the patients that do not have insurance, that's part of our mission. What we do, we offer healthcare services to anyone, regardless of the insurance or legal status. So even for patients that do not have insurance, we are happy to see them.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for coming with us, and speaking with us today. We look forward to having you on again in the future. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene y Doctora. It's so great. We have a partnership with the 6th Street Community Health Clinic and United Community Center to do special outreach to our Latino AX Spanish-speaking community. And so having a physician with us from there is very important and meaningful during this time. So we certainly appreciate it. Now I'm going to ask Gabe Charles, our Civic Engagement Manager, to come back on and give us her update on the DNC and what's coming up this week in local election and politics.
Hey, so it's locally a bit of a slow week, and not surprising because the DNC starts today. But we have an Equal Rights Commission meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then there's also a scheduled Fire and Police Commission meeting on the 20th. And that is, what, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. So those are the two main meetings happening. The Fire and Police Commission has an executive session at 4:30, and then we'll open up for the public meeting at 5:30. And then, like Tammy said, the DNC got some updates for you. So it starts today. And for those who aren't totally familiar with the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, it's basically where the Democratic Party officially votes to nominate a candidate for president and vice president. They'll also decide a party platform, and just generally it is a way for the Democratic Party to unify going into the general election season. And so today we're going to have some special speakers, or they're going to have some special speakers. Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders are going to be speaking tonight. And then we'll also hear from other congresspeople, senators, and representatives throughout the week, including Gwen Moore. So the way you can tune into that is by a link that I will share in the comments. And that's going to be from 8 to 10 p.m. this whole week, except Friday. So it's 4 days, 8 to 10 p.m. is where the main events happen. And the link to watch it online, it will be in the comments, but then also on your TVs as well, as you would typically do. So if there's any questions about that, let me know in the comments. And other than that, I'm just going to leave you all with a video about what it might look like when you have census takers coming to your door. As I announced last week, the census takers have started knocking door to door to make sure that families and households that haven't responded yet to the census get counted. So I will leave you all with that video and be back with you later this week.
Behind every 2020 census taker's mask is a friendly neighbor. They're teachers, retirees, vets, people committed to doing right by getting the count right. If you haven't responded yet, they'll be stopping by to ask some simple questions that will inform how billions in federal funds are spent on local services every year for the next decade. So when they come knocking, say hi from a safe distance and do your part to support your community. Time is running out. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov.
Folks, if you want to get involved with our civic engagement team, whether that's you want to be considered to be hired as a digital canvasser, as we get resources, we add on to the team. Like I said earlier, everybody's working virtually right now. If you're interested in becoming part of the canvassing team for employment, you can contact Gabe at gabe@socmilwaukee.org, and we can put your name on a list and get you at least talking and ready in the event that we were to get more resources, which are expected for the fall election. And then if you want to volunteer, you want to be on the board at SOC, you have to live in our district. But if you want to be on the board or of the governance board, send me a message at tammyrivera@socmilwaukee.org. Or if you want to serve on one of our board teams, which is not that you won't be on the governance board, but you're on be on a committee of the board, we'll be having a program team that will include looking at overall strategies like civic engagement. And if you just want to dig in because you're interested in the census, you're interested in helping people understand how to vote, or you're interested in helping people learn and be engaged with the year-round civic engagement process, again, send communication or call for Gabe. So we invite you, if you're an intern or a volunteer with us, many a times you get access to free training and resources for organizing and other things. And so it could really be a benefit to our community that you help that way, and a benefit to you and your career portfolio and expanding your experiences and expressing your concern for social justice. So we invite you to dig in with us. All right, folks. It's time for our SOC feature. We have a strategic partnership with the Benedict Center, and we've had, this is round 2 since I started with the organization, working on a diversion program for women involved in sex trafficking or street prostitution or being trafficked. And so we have a video we're going to share from the Benedict Center, and then I invite you, if you want to be in, if you want to join those efforts, that you can email Andrea@socmilwaukee.org. Looks like the Benedict Center has need of some items. So if you can share and be of help of any, please do contact them. Or you can contact Andrea, who gets you connected with the Benedict Center as well. All right, folks. Let's remind you, let's ask Marisol to give you the reminder to fill out the survey for today.
Has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take a quick survey that's located in the comments section so that we can keep 3 o'clock with SOC going for residents. Thank you for tuning in.
Stacy's sharing some information with us. She said she's seen census takers out in the community, and she's seen them. They have black bags with a census logo on. And she says it's super easy to fill out the census, and it is. It took me less than 10 minutes. She's saying it'll take you less than 15, and it's true to know that. All right, folks, let me give you a little update. Gracias, Diana. Diana said she filled out the survey. We can have 2 more people commit to filling out the survey this Monday. That would be a great help. Trine, ¿puedes hacer la encuesta? Trine, would you be willing to do the survey today? All right, let me give you an update on former Chief Morales. It is our understanding from news reports that he put in his retirement papers the day that the Fire and Police Commission demoted him. And so those are news reports. I don't have a formal announcement from the Fire and Police Commission, but that's an update there. The other update that I have to give you is that the new acting chief, Chief Michael Bronson, held a press conference sharing that he's going to have community listening sessions. The Collaborative Community Committee reacted to it the same way we reacted to the mayor's announcement, that it feels like that's a duplication of all the input that you all gave during the Collaborative Community Committee process. And so Chief Brunson shared that also with the FPC, and Chief Brunson gave me a call to discuss his press conference and the reaction from us about it. And so we've asked him if he could please share. He said that these efforts came from a cross sector of community groups and leaders in the community, directing him to, or, informing him that that's what they would like, is some more information gathering. And so we've asked if he could please disclose who those organizations are, because certainly as organizers, we are inclusive and want all voices to be heard. It's just that we were feeling that the Department of Justice 800 plus input from people, and our hundreds of input from people on top of the Office of Violence Prevention's work, we're feeling like there's enough information gathered and that we all need to move forward. And so we've asked them for two things. One is to disclose what groups, were feeling like they needed their voice more heard, so that we can feel that it was a transparent process and understand who's feeling left out. And two, to convene an invitation for all of these different groups, us, the MPD, Office of Violence Prevention, and the babies on the front line right now, younger folks doing the protest, that we should all come together and agree on a process that everybody can support, instead of like each different organization launching forward. So that was our feedback to him. We certainly appreciate his reaching out, and we certainly want unified community, and we certainly want law enforcement reform, but we really have to all agree on a process that everybody can support and move forward. All right, I'm going to remind you, if you want to get involved with our civic engagement team, please email Gabe at gabe@socmilwaukee.org. And tomorrow we're going to have Taylor Arada on to talk about the youth programming, hopefully for you all. We want to continue our solidarity with the protesters and their families. As we know, a group has been marching from here to DC. They were just at the halfway mark, and they're continuing to keep the demand for justice, racial, and stop police brutality and law enforcement reform alive. And our thoughts and prayers are with those impacted by COVID-19, especially those of you who've been ill or tested positive or have lost a loved one because of that. We thank you for being with us. We invite you to come back, and I'll leave you with a thank you for our funding partners.
Hello, SOC viewers. My name is Angel Hope, and I'm a youth organizer at SOC. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock at SOC Live and for completing our SOC survey. In addition to that, we would also like to thank our sponsors: Wisconsin Voices, Community Development Block Grants, Neo Philanthropy State Infrastructure Fund, Movement Voter Project, Catholic Campaign for Human Development, Zilber Foundation, the City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention, Tides Foundation, City of Milwaukee Promise Zones, all the faithful individuals who support SOC through their personal donations. Thank you.